Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen. Guys, the channel that brings you your team every day, Rangers news, Rangers updates, Rangers gossip and Rangers rumours, all to you, the fan, from us fans here. Guys, obviously the best way to keep up to date is to hit that sub, ring that notification bell, set it to all so it always comes up on your mobile device or your computer whenever we drop a new video, drop a breaking video, drop a live stream or a live podcast. It's the best way to keep up to date with the most successful team in football, Glasgow Rangers. Guys, we're going to cover a lot in this video today. We've got news about Jhin Hagi possibly leaving in the summer. We've got news about a possible arrival of a player called Palma, who has been previously mentioned on this channel. Also news about Everton starlet called Isaac Price as well. News about Champions League next season. Weird to start thinking about that already, and what could be the nightmare scenario, what could be the dream scenario from Rangers, and as well as obviously a fantastic result for Rangers women last night with their performance against top of the table Glasgow City. Well, where to start? Well, let's start with current Rangers player Jhin Hagi. Yep, sorry Victoria to bring this up. I know this is going to make my co-host Victoria very, very upset. But Jhin Hagi has been linked with a move away from the club in the summer. This is the third club he has now been linked to in quite a short time. Actually, no, fourth club. Sorry, my apologies. Fourth club he has now been linked to in quite a short period of time. Now, one of the talent guys for PSG, who also works for a Spanish club called Celta Vigo, has identified Jhin Hagi as a potential player for Vigo to move for this summer. It's reported that Vigo are interested in Hagi and could well make a move for him this summer. That's added obviously to the interest already shown in Jhin Hagi by Borussia Mönchengladbach of the Bundesliga, by Galatasaray of the Turkish Super League, and allegedly also an English Premier League club, which is believed to be Leeds United, who obviously though have their own relegation struggles this season. So, you know, these I know is paper talk, I know it is rumours, but it does seem that often there is no smoke without fire. And the fact that Hagi is being repeatedly linked with a number of clubs around Europe does raise the question that if a bid came in from it, and a substantial bid, would Rangers turn it down, or would they see this as valuable capital to bring into the club in order for them to invest in their summer transfer plans? Hagi, who has missed the majority of this season through injury, is obviously fighting his way back to full fitness, and yet has yet to make a major impact since returning from that injury. And certainly Michael Beale will have a decision to make with his Romanian star this summer, especially given all this interest. Now, Hagi could obviously be kept if, for example, you know, that Rangers lose a number of players from the midfield and from the attacking three this summer, with the likes of Arfield out of contract, Ryan Kent out of contract, Ryan Jack out of contract. There's a number of players who could well be leaving, and also the fact that, they need backup, they need depth to the squad. Hagi could provide that useful depth. So an important decision to make over Jhin Hagi. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Would you like to see Hagi leave? Is that someone you'd be willing to sell to get some money into the club? I've heard anything from 3.5 to 5 million has been the asking price for Hagi. Now, another rumour that is currently going around is regarding, obviously, Ryan Kent. It seems, though, however, that this rumour is firming itself up now, with Burnley apparently being in contact with Ryan's representatives. Burnley, who are going to be promoted back to the Premier League this coming season, are reportedly very, very heavily interested in Ryan Kent, and they could see him as being a future player for them. Now, Burnley, who will lose 5 to 6 of their championship promotion winning squad, are likely to want to strengthen in key positions, and Kent could be one of those players. Obviously, those 5 to 6 players they are losing are all loan players who will be returning to their parent clubs, like Manchester City, for example, have no intention of selling. So Kent could be a long-term replacement for those players that are leaving. So Could Kent be on his way to Burnley? Would this be a good move for Rangers? Personally speaking, I think it's time for him to go. I think he's been quite woeful in the last few games. I have stuck up for him a lot this season, but I think for both parties, it's probably best if Kent moves on. But for certainly interesting times ahead, as comes to Ryan Kent. Kent is certainly someone who has a lot of skill and a lot of talent. It's whether obviously that can ever be recaptured again. Initially when Michael Beale came into the club, there was an initial bounce in form for Kent that seems to have tailed away again. I think a lot obviously depends on what Kent wants to do. And, if Kent does want to stay, can Michael Beale turn Ryan Kent around and get him back to playing as he was during that 55 title winning season when he absolutely, for example, tormented and terrorized that lot from across the city. Now, one player who has been linked with a move to Rangers as a possible, I think, replacement for Kent is left winger Honduran international Luis Palma. Luis Palma, who is currently with Aris Thessalonica in Greece, is someone who has interested Rangers greatly. Now, according to several reports, Rangers have had the Honduran international watched and are exceptionally impressed with his speed, his skill, and his talent. Palma is seen as being someone who could potentially be a replacement for Kent if Kent does move on in the summer. The asking price is reported to be somewhere around €4.5 million. That is the going rate, apparently, for a player of Palma's talent. What do we know about Palma? We know he's from Honduras. We know he's a left winger. He's 1.79 meters tall. He has made only 4 appearances, scoring 1 goal this season. He has played 100% of the starting minutes. That's in the playoffs, though. That is not in the league structure. In the Super League this season for Salonika, he played 20 games, scored 7 goals, had 2 assists, played 46% of the time in the starting 11, 46% of the starting minutes, and had 24% goal participation on the goals scored. Now, that's pretty decent. Nearly a quarter of the goals have been down to him for Aris Salonika. He has previously played with CDS Vida, Real Monarchs. They are obviously Honduran teams. He is someone, obviously, who's a Honduran international, and like I said, could be seen as a potential replacement for Kent. He is also only 23 years old. So again, a young player who can be brought in, made better, and perhaps sold on in the future, as Rangers continue to follow this player trading model that they seem to be very, very interested in using. And the player trading model, obviously, for those of you unfamiliar, is to bring in players, make them better, sell them on for bigger profits to ensure, obviously, you keep your club financially frugal. And obviously, given, what happened 12 years ago, Rangers want to ensure that continues to happen. Another player who Rangers have been linked with is Everton starlet Isaac Price. For those of you who don't know anything about Isaac Price, Isaac Price is a Northern Ireland international. He has played twice for the national team at the full level, as well as representing Northern Ireland under 21, under 19, under 17, and under 16 level. He has made just 2 appearances for Everton, but has been with Everton since 2010. He is 19 years old, a midfielder, very much a creative midfielder in that middle of the park, likes to tackle, good distribution, and certainly someone that Rangers are interested in. And at 19 years old is seen as someone who they can develop and certainly make better. Now, reportedly, Price is also interesting a number of other clubs, one of those clubs being our nearest and dearest from across the city. The other team that are reportedly interested in him are Standard Liège in Belgium, who have a good reputation for developing young players. Obviously, a decision will be left to Price as to where he wants to go, but this certainly seems another young, promising signing that Rangers could bring in relatively cheaply. This is according to the Liverpool Echo, which is obviously the paper in the city of Liverpool. So much transfer speculation, so much transfer rumour. And look, I don't know what's true. I don't know whether any of these things will come off. I don't have any inside information, unfortunately. I don't have any access to the players or access to the manager. Hopefully that might come in time. That's not certainly something I have at this moment in time, but it's certainly something that's going to continue, isn't it, until obviously the transfer window closes in the summer, until we've made 4, 5, 6 signings. That rumours are going to continue to circulate around the club. Given the fact that Michael Beale has been vocal in the fact that we need 5 signings to make us competitive and to challenge again with our friends from across the city who wear green and white. We dropped a video here on Glasgow Rangers Nation earlier on. If you haven't checked that out, please go back and check it out after this one. Beale, we are 4 to 5 signings away from challenging. So these signings are going to continue to be rumoured. Okay, so moving on, guys. We talked obviously about the fact that Rangers will qualify for the Champions League playoffs this season, given the fact obviously it now seems pretty guaranteed, 99%, barring a unlikely collapse from that mob from across the city. We will finish second this season, which will mean that we have to play 2 qualifying rounds, a third qualifying round and then a playoff round to get into the Champions League. Now, a number of papers have been, and a number of computers and websites have been looking into a dream scenario and a nightmare scenario for Rangers in the Champions League. Now, they have outlined what they think is a nightmare scenario, and they have outlined what they think is probably the dream scenario. And obviously, as we know, this may not well come off. Rangers are, though, likely to carry a seed for this competition because of the fact that they did so well in the Europa League the other season by getting that run all the way to the final. So, what is the dream scenario? What is the nightmare scenario? Now, this could obviously change. Leagues still have a number of games to play. Some leagues have more games than others to play. In France, for example, Paris Saint-Germain are a long way clear at the top, but there is not many points between the teams in second, third, and fourth there, between Monaco and I think it's Lens as well who are up there. So this is what the papers have outlined as been the dream scenario and the nightmare scenario for Rangers. I mean, obviously, all this has got to be tempered by the fact that Rangers beat PSV last year to get into the Champions League, and obviously they then ended up in the group of death with Napoli, Liverpool, and Ajax. I think we could probably beat someone called Natalie. Anyway, the nightmare scenario would be to play Monaco in the third qualifying round and then draw Ajax in the playoff round. Like I said, this is all rumour and supposition. It depends, obviously, on where people finish. Ajax are currently second in the Dutch Eredivisie behind Feyenoord. The dream scenario, they say, would be to draw Servette of Switzerland and then play against a team. Now, I'm going to absolutely massacre this name, FKTSC Baka Topola, who are a Serbian team in the playoff round. That, as they outline, would be the dream scenario for Rangers. But certainly, it's going to be a tough few days, a tough qualifying round with 2 games home and away in both of those rounds, 4 intense European games, which will obviously have 2 intense European nights at Ibrox. They're games that we certainly need to be winning if we are to get into the Champions League. And I think if this club want to go forward, if this club want to establish themselves, they really do need to get into the group stages, ensure that they don't finish bottom, ensure that we don't embarrass ourselves as we did last season, and obviously go on to have a little bit of success. I'm not necessarily saying win the group or qualify. What I'm saying is, at least, show that we are a team that is truly competitive in Europe. Also, the fact that the better you do in those Champions League group stages, the more money you can make, and the Champions League money is phenomenal. I mean, the average outpay for a team that does averagely well in the Champions League is around £50 million, which obviously would be useful income for Rangers. So overall, this is it's a must-win situation really to get into those group stages. Obviously, the situation would therefore present itself that we'd have the opportunity to play at Europe's top table. And if we finish third in the group, for example, if we did fail to qualify from the group, which hopefully wouldn't happen, then, we'd then drop down into the Europa League, getting a second go effectively in Europe, which is what we want. Final piece of news tonight, obviously, was a fantastic result for the Rangers women's team tonight, who have closed at the top of the league right up to, I think, 3 points, covering the first 3 teams. They were playing league leaders Glasgow City tonight. Rangers coming out on top with a 2-1 victory. Rachel McLaughlin and Kirsty Horwath getting the goals. A fantastic performance by the ladies. Brilliant performance to get that victory over the top of the table team. Well done, Rangers women, fantastic result. Glasgow Rangers Nation says, congratulations. We are very, very proud of you, as we are proud of anyone who wears the club shirt. Well, guys, that's the latest news, latest views, updates from Rangers. Let me know in the comments below any opinions you have on any of those things we've discussed in today's video. And if you haven't done so already, guys, please hit that sub, ring that notification bell, to make sure you don't miss out on any of the daily content. And also, if you can, hit this video, give it a like. It does help with our YouTube algorithm. It's been a pleasure speaking to you as always here on the channel. I'm back to speak to you again very soon here on Glasgow Rangers Nation.